Hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Casual. For those who are new here, we are so glad to have you today. We are here on a very dark and rainy day. I did what I could with the lighting and we're hoping for the best. It is that time of month again. New month means new TBR. I haven't really done a ton of like monthly TBRs on this channel yet because I'm such a mood reader. I've been realizing that I end up standing in front of my bookshelf with like nothing to read. It's like standing in front of a full open closet with like 1,000 items of clothing and be like, I have nothing to wear. Like, I have things to read. I just am having a hard time deciding what to read. This month, I figured maybe I could go into the realm of the TBR jar to try to help us with this challenge. I'm thinking about picking 10, and then I potentially could have choices inside of that 10. Like, I could pick this or this, and that goes with the prompt in this or this way, you know, that kind of thing. I have quite a few prompts in this guy, as you can tell. There are books that go with certain seasons. There are books that have, you know, authors that have written more than 10 books, debut authors, authors I've never read before. BookTok recommended this book. A book I got from the library, a book I have on Kindle. Like, there's all kinds of stuff. Authors that start with certain letters, books by certain authors that I have so many of and never read, stuff like that. So will this be a success? I'm not entirely sure, but I would love to try. Definitely comment down below if you guys have done a TBR jar in the past, or if you have another process that works really great for you as a mood reader. Definitely let me know. So let's get in to picking our choices. I'm thinking about 10 prompts. And then I'll kind of walk over and be like, what do we think will be best for this? And then I have my iPad right down here so I can write them down so I don't lose track of anything. So I've done a lot of shaking them up already. This sucker is big. I know a lot of people have like a tiny little jar, but I had this around, and so I was like, I'm just gonna use this. So we have our first one. Book for a multiple hour read. So this is a book that I would be willing to sit down for several hours and read, whether it be on a blog or whether it be on, you know, just a normal Saturday, something that I could really get into. Ooh, let's see. Something that I would love to just sit and read for several hours. I love how I get the hardest one right out of the gate. I'm gonna do not one, but a series. The Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. This, since I read relatively fast, I know it's 3 books, but they're also YA thrillers, and the last YA thriller I think took me like 3 hours. So I want to have more than one set ready to go for that bad boy. I talked about these in my 24 for 2024. Go check that out. But if you haven't heard of it before, this is a YA series about a girl named Pip who is doing a senior project on a crime that has been committed and solved in her county or city, but she believes they incarcerated the wrong man, so she wants to get to the bottom of it. And then I guess shit goes down. I don't know, but I only know about the first one because I don't want to read about the others and then have this one spoiled, so we only get the knowledge of the first one. All right, number 2, we have takes place outside of the US. Ooh, that's a tough one. I think I'm gonna pick Old Country by Matt Query and Harrison. Matt and Harrison Query? Carey? I don't even know where this is. In the Teton Valley? Oh, is that in America? Never mind, that's in Idaho. Okay. Old Country, you'd think it'd be a country, but apparently not. The Hill House, Haunting of Hill House. Is that in America or is that in England? Massachusetts or somewhere in New England. Okay, never mind. America's everywhere. So I'm gonna go a complete 180 then, because my library books are not doing it for me. So I'm just gonna go full on fantasy and pick a fantasy style book. I mean, the easiest one would be A Court of Thorns and Roses. However, looking at my bookshelf, I think there's something that I can read that's outside of the US. That's The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I believe this is in Rome. They go to Greece. Perfect. Takes place outside of the US. The Fury, this is a tale of murder. Or maybe that's not quite true. At its heart, it's a love story, isn't it? Lana Farrar is a reclusive ex-movie star and one of the most famous women in the world. Every year, she invites her closest friends to escape the English weather and spend Easter on her idyllic private Greek island. I tell you this because maybe you think you know the story. You probably read about it at the time. It caused a real stir in the tabloids, if you remember. It had all the necessary ingredients for a press sensation. A celebrity, a private island cut off by the wind, and a murder. We found ourselves trapped there overnight. Our old friendships concealed hatred and a desire for revenge. What followed was a game of cat and mouse, a battle of wits full of twists and turns, building to an unforgettable climax. The night ended in violence and death. But who am I? My name is Elliot Chase, and I'm going to tell you a story unlike any you've ever heard. Doesn't that sound so good? My hair looks a mess today. This is what happens if it just air dries. And I'm growing out some dye, and I have a yellow light, and then I have a white light, and it's just, we're gonna ignore it, okay? Next one. Literary fiction. Okay, so that's pretty easy. I just have to pick a literary fiction. She says, looking at her list of basically 0 literary fiction. I have a ton of horror, I have a ton of thriller, I have fantasy, I have all of these things. Literary fiction, this could be my chance to read I really need to redo this bookshelf. I can't find anything. You know, I do have a literary fiction from the library. I wasn't gonna read it yet, but you know, when you don't have very many to pick from. So, Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have several Taylor Jenkins Reids of my own, like I have Daisy Jones and the Six, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Oh, and then I've read one already. So, I've heard that there's some people from this that are in Daisy Jones and the Six and in Carrie Soto is Back. So I figured reading this one first would be good, and they had it at the library, so. Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Malibu, August 1983. It's the day of Nina Riva's annual end of summer party, and anticipation is at a fever pitch. Everyone wants to be around the famous Rivas. Nina, the talented surfer and supermodel, brothers Jay and Hud, one a championship surfer, the other a renowned photographer, and their adored baby sister Kit. Together, the siblings are a source of fascination in Malibu and the world over, especially as the offspring of the legendary singer Mick Riva. Malibu Rising is a story about one unforgettable night in the life of a family, the night they each have to choose what they will keep from the people who made them and what they will leave behind. Sounds interesting. Number 4. A new author to me. So that's easy. I have a ton of new books to me. So, what I'm gonna pick is, since I couldn't do it earlier, I'm gonna do it now. Old Country by Matt and Harrison Q. This book seems to be really scary. I'm hoping they move into a farmstead. They don't listen to the neighbors on what they're supposed to be like doing to protect themselves. And so, yeah, Dan and Lucy warn Harry and Sasha of a malevolent spirit that lives in the valley, one that with every season will haunt them in fresh, ever more diabolical ways. So, we'll see how that one goes. All right. Next up, we have an author I love. Ooh. That's a tough one. Actually, I don't think it is. One of my most recent 5 stars was The Lost Village by Camilla Sten. I have her next one on my library TBR called The Resting Place. So hopefully this one will be as good. It has a creepy set of stairs. You know, that could be good or bad. Spine-chilling, propulsive psychological suspense novel from international sensation Camilla Sten. The medical term is prosopagnosia. The average person calls it face blindness, the inability to recognize a familiar person's face. When Eleanor walked in on the scene of her capriciously cruel grandmother's, Vivian's, murder, she came face to face with the killer, a maddening expression that means nothing to someone like her. With each passing day, the anxiety of having come close to a killer and knowing if they'd be back overtakes both her dreams and her waking moments, thwarting her perception of reality. Heart-thumping, relentless thriller that will shake you to your core, The Resting Place is an unforgettable novel of horror and suspense. I'm excited. I hope that it's as good. I really hope that I don't fall into the trap of, oh my gosh, I love this author, and then I hate the book. It's happened before, but I really, really hope it doesn't happen again. All right. Next, we have book from an author that we've given a 5 stars. Okay. So I guess there could be love and 5 stars. I guess those could be, those technically could be different things. So if you needed a refresher, which I actually need a refresher, on my 5 stars from last year, I've given a 5 stars to Abby Jimenez, Emily Henry, Riley Sager, Abby Jimenez again, Beth O'Leary, Tessa Bailey, Emily Henry again, Kirsten White, Camilla Sten, Helen Huang, which is one that I actually forgot in my 5-star video, Sally Hepworth, and I believe that is it. I do have a Sally Hepworth, I also have an Abby Jimenez, and I also have an Emily Henry. I guess this could be the time to like actually read a romance when I'm supposed to read a romance, you know? That might make sense. To like actually read a romance, because so far I literally have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 murders and 1 literary fiction. I think probably a romance would be good in that regard. So I'm gonna pick, who am I gonna pick? I have an Abby Jimenez on my Kindle, and then I have an Emily Henry over here. I actually have 2 Emily Henry books. So since I think I'm gonna be hitting some bangers this month already, I'm gonna pick People We Meet on Vacation, which I've heard is not one of her strongest showings. I don't know if it was because she was new or if it's just not up to people's speed. I'm not sure, but we will go with People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. 2 best friends, 10 summer trips, 1 last chance to fall in love. Poppy and Alex. Alex and Poppy. They have nothing in common. She's a wild child and he wears khakis. She has an insatiable wanderlust. He prefers to stay home with a book. And somehow, ever since a fateful car share ride home from college many years ago, they are the very best of friends. For most of the year, they live far apart. She's in New York City and he's in their small hometown. But every summer for a decade, they have taken 1 glorious week of vacation together. Now she has a week to fix everything because they had a falling out. If only she can get the big truth that has always stood quietly in the middle of their seemingly perfect relationship. What could possibly go wrong? So they have a falling out, second chance romance. All right, so we have 6 prompts so far, several more books than that, but we might not hit all the prompts this month, but it's just, you know, good to pick the books instead of just going in chronological order on my shelf, you know? So this, we're not gonna go to the library in this. It's raining so hard outside. But that was another prompt of to go to the library, but I'm not quite up to driving quite yet. Author we have read before. That one's very broad. Very broad indeed. Which basically cuts out every single book that's left on my library TBR. Because the whole point in me going to the library is to get books that I haven't read anything by that person before. The Sally Hepworth is on there. Let's try something else. Other we read before. I have read a Kate Alice Marshall, but I don't really know if that's who I want to read right now. Never read Sarah J. Maas. Never read Samantha Shannon. Never read Lee Bardugo. I have read Jennifer L. Armentrout. I could continue that series. I never read Kirsten Hannah, never read Hanya Yanagatara, or however you say that, Yanagihara. Never read Hannah Grace, never read Talia Hibbert. I have read a Sierra Simone, but I don't know if I want that kind of book right now. It's something different. I feel like I have the same type of book everywhere. I'm gonna go with Aragon, because I have read all of these books as a kid, but I really want to read them again. So to put a fantasy in here, we have Aragon by Christopher Paolini. Really like this set that I have because it has all the spines that make up a specific picture. Aragon is about a dragon rider. It's one of the best books I've ever read in my life. About a dragon rider. He doesn't know he's a dragon rider. He finds an egg, he finds a stone, and it ends up being an egg, and then a dragon is born, and then he has to learn how to ride it. In the movie, Jeremy Irons teaches him, and it's really great. And I know I'm going through my physical TBR, but I could open it up to my Kindle if I really felt so led. So you have 3 more. Something that has a creepy font on the cover. I have the perfect book for this. I have the perfect book. I don't know where I put it. Oh, here we go. Creepy font. Leech. Look at that. I'm really excited to read this one. In an isolated chateau as far north as north goes, the Baron's doctor has died. The doctor's replacement has a mystery to solve, discovering how the Institute lost track of one of its many bodies. In the frozen north, the Institute's body will discover a competitor for its rung on the top of the evolutionary ladder. A parasite is spreading through the Baron's castle, already a dark pit of secrets, lies, violence, and fear. The two will make war on the battlefield of the body. Whichever wins, humanity will lose again. We love a happy book. All right, 2 more. A house on the cover. It's not too hard. Here we go. The Invited by Jennifer McMahon. Chilling ghost story with a twist. Returns to the woods of Vermont to tell the story of a husband and wife who don't simply move into a haunted house, they build one. In the quest for a simpler life, Helen and Nate have abandoned the comforts of suburbia to take up residence on 44 acres of rural land, where they will begin the ultimate aspirational do-it-yourself project, building the house of their dreams. When they discover that this beautiful property has a dark and violent past, Helen, a former history teacher, becomes consumed by the local legend of Hattie Breckenridge, a woman who lived and died there a century ago. As the building project progresses, the house will become a place of menace and unfinished business, a new home, now haunted, that beckons its owners and their neighbors towards unimaginable danger. Ooh, that could be fun. All right, last one. Last one for the month. An author that we've read before. Seeing as how we already have that one, I'm gonna put it to the side and pick a different one, because I want to have all different ones. But I have several of the same. Translated fiction. I already picked the only one I actually know. And it was the Camilla Sten. I guess I'll just start looking through and seeing if any say it on the cover. Didn't I talk about somebody that was translated? And I'm always like, she's from here, but she lives in Germany or whatever. 90% of that's Samantha Schweblin. Is that who that was? Yeah, translated by Megan McDowell. So we're also going to be picking Little Eyes by Samantha Schweblin. So this is a kind of sci-fi dystopian book about, it's all over the world, but there are toys or dolls that have cameras in their eyes so they can track everything that everyone is doing at all times. And even if you don't have one in your house, you're connected to someone that does. So I think that would be pretty good, and it's in the 200-ish pages, so it'll respect our time. That's something else I want to do this year. Look at me, I'm already going through a lot of my library books, but also some of my physical TBR. Proud of myself. That is it. That's all 10. All 10 of our TBR picks. We had quite a few. Oh my gosh, so many of these. And then we actually had a couple of alternatives as well. So we had all these bad boys. We got all these. Don't know how I'm gonna take this picture because I don't know if I want to give them all away, but we'll just try. Thank you so much everybody for being here in this video. Let me know if you've read any of these books on our TBR that we have for this month. Let me know what y'all's TBRs are looking like. If there's anything you'd like to recommend that I either get from the library or buy at the bookstore, please let me know. But otherwise, my next video that I have coming out will be a wrap up for December. Nope, wrap up for January and December actually, because I never did one for December because the holidays got away from me. But I love you all. Have a great rest of your day. Support your local library and happy reading.